Good morning, everybody. Welcome to today's 1 million by 1 million Startup Roundtable for Entrepreneurs. 1M by 1M, as you know, is the first and only global virtual accelerator in the world. Our mission is to help 1 million entrepreneurs reach $1 million and beyond in annual revenue. And notice, I did not say we are trying to get 1 million companies funded. We are really committed to serving the broader population of entrepreneurs to succeed at whatever level makes sense and whatever level is viable for them. It's not possible to raise venture funding for 1 million companies, but we really want to see 1 million successful entrepreneurs around the world. This is the 540th session. We've had over 150,000 people participate in these, starting way back when in 2008. We've been doing this for a very long time. Every single recording is available on our YouTube channel, and you're welcome to look them up at 1M1M Roundtables, actually. On Twitter, we're at 1M1M, and that's Romana. Hashtag for today is 1M1M. These are the call-in instructions. We're not ready for call-in right now, but it is a roundtable, not a broadcast. We do want you to participate as much as you would like to, and please make note of the public chat, which is constantly available for you to participate throughout the program. We do have a very full session today. We have a guest and we have a lot of entrepreneur pitches, so it's going to be a packed session. So let us begin the session today with a conversation with Itai Sadan, co-founder and CEO of Duda, a very interesting company. We've been following Duda for a while now. Itai, welcome back. We haven't talked in some years, so it's a pleasure to see you again and catch up. And we're going to dive into your story, both the genesis story as well as what has happened in the interim years a bit, and present your case study to our audience here. Welcome.
Thank you, Romana. Pleasure to be here. Just before the call, I was looking at when was the last time that we talked, and it was indeed in 2013. So just as we were, yes, it's been quite a while, but definitely remember our conversation back then. Early days of our journey, and it's great to catch up again.
Itai, you told me something in that conversation, 8 years ago, that has stuck with me, and it was one of the earlier conversations that alerted me to the fact that there is a way of bootstrapping, a way of creative bootstrapping that we should take into account. And since then, we have turned that into one of our methodology elements in the 1 million by 1 million program. You and several others pointed me to it, which is bootstrapping with a paycheck. And in COVID, this trend has really taken off. Everybody is trying to now do something on the side and start tinkering, start experimenting with an idea. So that's where I would like to start our conversation. I know you have bootstrapped Duda with a paycheck, so let's start there. At the very beginning of your entrepreneur journey, how did you manage to balance your job at SAP and starting Duda?
Yes, that is correct, and I remember you kind of coined that term, bootstrapping with a paycheck, which I kind of liked, and I remember until today. And yeah, it is one of the ways, and I'm sure I'm not the first one to do that. Many before me, and as you mentioned, many people now they have their daytime work, and they have this idea that they're excited about, and they're working on that idea during nights and weekends, and maybe financing it with their regular paycheck. And that's what we did in the early days as well. It even allowed us, aside from paying for some of the hardware and software, to hire initially, 2 interns that we paid a salary for a while. So it's important to have a source of income. I know I've also recommended it to other entrepreneurs who were consulting with me and were thinking about kind of jumping board from their current company and starting something. In the very early days, it's very risky, right? You can't really assess how long it's going to take you to really gain traction, gain product market fit. And the thing that will definitely kill your startup or your idea is when you kind of run out of resources. When either you get tired of what you're doing or you're not able to finance it anymore. So I think entrepreneurs, before taking the big leap, need to really think about that this is going to be a long journey and it might take time until they're actually able to finance it, either with revenue or with investor money. And you need a very long runway.
So Itai, let's talk a little bit about the idea that you had for Duda. What was going on around? It was 2008 when you came up with the idea for Duda, right?
Yes, so the first incarnation of Duda was actually back then called Duda Mobile.
Yeah,
I think that's how it was called when the company was called when you interviewed me, and that was our initial product. The genesis was really kind of 2008. The first version of the iPhone came out, and we were amazed by the experience of finally having the web on kind of that small screen. But we were seeing how small businesses were really struggling with engaging with customers, with visitors on mobile phones. And websites back then were really kind of a lot of pinch and zoom through the pages. That was kind of the experience that was there. And we were looking at some of some kind of bigger companies were doing at the time, like Amazon and eBay. They created these great experiences. And our first product that we came out with was basically mimicking what Amazon and eBay did, kind of creating this great mobile site experience. We created a pretty cool technology that took a desktop site and converted it automatically for a small business to an site without requiring them to have any developer skill set, knowledge, or know-how. And we got a lot of traction. We got pretty quickly we got to quite a few millions of sites on the platform from small businesses that really felt the pain.
And your co-founding team, you had a co-founder in the beginning, right?
Yes, same co-founder is still today, and very good friend that I actually know since high school, and he's the CTO. So someone that Amir, yeah. We both studied computer science together in university. We were college roommates, and eventually we connected again later and started Duda.
And you were in Israel, then the point at which you were doing Duda, the beginning part of Duda, Amir and you were both working at SAP in Palo Alto.
Yes. Yeah. It so happened that we were both working at SAP at the time in Palo Alto, and we both left SAP at the same time to start Duda. Eventually, Amir moved back to Israel, and he's here in Israel today until with the R&D team, which is almost 100 people in the R&D team. The company has 200 people today worldwide. I've remained in the Bay Area, and I kind of run all the business aspects, sales, marketing, and so on.
And do you, when you started, both of you were coding?
Yes, in the early days, both of us were coding. I'm happy to say that my code is no longer in the product by now. There's much smarter engineers that joined the company since, and the product has evolved quite a bit. But in the early days, everybody did what they needed to do, and we needed to build the product.
So I'm going to ask you a few questions that come up a lot in our conversations from the audience. One is, did SAP know that you were starting a company on the side?
So we did get an approval from SAP that whatever we were working on was not competitive. I recommend for people to do that. I recommend also to consult with a good lawyer before you plan to do that. We did that. Make sure that you really kind of divide between the things that you do for your company, you need to dedicate the time that you're required to do to your daytime job, and make sure that you're working on your spare time with your own hardware, with your own software, with your own resources. And we consulted with a good lawyer that helped us set it up. So I think that's really important, and good that you brought that up.
Yeah. And talk about validation while you were still at SAP and building this product. How did you validate that this is something that customers were going to pay for?
Yeah, so what we did is early days, we kind of we wanted our customers, we were targeting small businesses, and there's plenty of small businesses around us. So we just went knocking on doors and talking to small businesses and showing them, asking them basically if they needed mobile sites. So that's some of the customers we got that way. Also put really a very low amount of dollars on AdWords with kind of some direct messaging. Again, asking small businesses if they needed mobile sites. Back then, it was not a DIY tool like it is today. We kind of used the tool that we were building in the back end and provided the end mobile sites as a professional service. So we were kind of acting almost as an agency in the early days.
Mm-hmm. Great. So by the time you chose to quit SAP and go full-time with Duda Mobile at the time, what were the metrics? You had some revenues, you had some customers, you knew you could sell this service at least. The product was not quite ready yet, but were you kind of breaking even at least? Were you able to cover your expenses? What was the situation?
So the point that we actually left SAP is when we felt like we were starting to get real traction with a very big customer. Back then it was AT&T. Somehow they reached out to us out of the blue, and as kind of conversations continued, we realized that a deal could be made, and it was pretty imminent. And at that point, we decided to leave SAP. We still, like, the revenues there were no revenues almost at that time, were very minimal. We also had very, very minimal expenses, but kind of right after leaving SAP, about 3 months later, we kind of signed the deal with AT&T, and more or less in parallel in the same 3 months, we got our first angel investment from Orenzev.
So, the thumb rule for me, after looking at many, many case studies, including yours, is validation is the operating principle of bootstrapping with a paycheck. There are a lot of ideas that actually don't validate. You can come up with an idea, you can even write code, but there is no guarantee that customers want your product. So it's really, you need to understand that customers want your product, and that's the validation that you should aim for. Not necessarily break even, not necessarily revenue, not necessarily any of these other things, but validation is, for me, validation is the operating principle of when you actually quit your full-time job and take the full leap into a startup. Do you agree?
Oh, I agree. And it's a hard thing to really kind of draw the line. What is validation, right? And I think for me, like, validation was either you're getting a lot of traction with a lot of small customers, which actually at that point, even though that was our goal, we still didn't have that. We were building sites, and maybe we had a few small business customers here and there, but it was not enough to validate the idea. Actually, AT&T itself was the validation. So if you're not getting a large volume of customers, you need to get, I feel like a really big customer, And the moment that you have validation, it's when investors get interested. We were talking to investors, all 2009, and 2009 was a very tough year, right? And nobody was interested in investing. And the moment we landed AT&T, kind of, the ears perked, and we got our first investors. So I think it's hard. I know this is probably the hardest part, to get that traction, but this is also what you need as an entrepreneur for validation. This is what investors are kind of wanting to see.
That's another thumb rule. Investors do not invest without validation. Not anymore.
Sorry, Sarmana, I didn't. Can you repeat the question?
Yeah, what I said, that is another thumb rule. Investors do not invest without validation. If your game plan is going to quit your job and you're going to raise money, well, nobody's going to invest in you unless you have a validated business. And
exactly,
so
that's what
was a really important piece of your puzzle.
Yeah, I feel like so many entrepreneurs don't really understand that. They feel like investors, like risk. They hate risk. They want to take risk off the table. It's actually your job as an entrepreneur to take that risk off the table. They want to invest in something that they feel, it's kind of the train is on the tracks and it's going, and their money is going to help fuel growth. I remember, one of the investors that I met early on gave me an example where a very famous entrepreneur, back then it was not famous, but one of the big companies, a company that later became big but came in the early stages, and the entrepreneur said, I need money every second day. We need to add another servers. We can't handle the load. That's traction, right? That's what investors like to invest in. Yes, if your problem is that you don't have enough servers to handle the load, this is a problem that we can help you with. And that's maybe an extreme, not, it's very, very hard to get there, but I think there's kind of middle ground of where you start to feel traction.
Yeah. So Itai, if you are indicating that you very early on you faced the positioning shift. You were thinking that you were going to cater to lots of small businesses, and here you are, AT&T is calling you, and AT&T wants to buy your product. So did that make you switch the business to an enterprise business?
No, we actually went in parallel. So, we were really intrigued with going enterprise because, it seemed easy. You get one big customer, and through them, for us, it was a channel into many small businesses that this group inside AT&T was catering to. But then we discovered that getting kind of the second, third, fourth AT&T was very, very difficult. So I think we were a little bit lucky there. The good thing is that we went in parallel. We continued to grow eventually we made our product a DIY where, small businesses worldwide could access our product and use it. Today, our product has evolved quite a bit. It's a fully responsive website builder for web professionals. So we started mobile, we kind of became fully responsive. And now we've kind of even honed in not just businesses, but web professionals, web designers, digital agencies, people who are building websites for small businesses. But we were always kind of both, and we continue to do enterprise deals today. We have about 50, I would call them enterprise-grade customers, and we have over 17,000 small agencies, freelancers, web designers using our product.
And the 50 large enterprises operate as your channel partners?
Yes, that is correct.
So in the early years, let's say we think about 2010, 12, let's say up to 15, what were the most important things, strategic moves that you made that helped you find this traction? I mean, 50 channel partners, 50 large enterprise channel partners is a very significant deal. 17,000 agencies is a very significant deal. So in acquiring those channel partners and agency partners, what were the moves?
Yeah, I think there's no silver bullet. It's a lot of small jumps along the way that kind of help you grow and scale, and both from building a better product, eventually building a sales team, a marketing team, getting more customers. So a lot of sequential things that we did along the way. Definitely there were, ups and downs in that journey. And I think the most important thing is probably maintaining that product market fit all through the years. Our market shifted in certain ways. As I mentioned, we started with mobile sites, and suddenly we discovered, our end customers were not interested in building just mobile sites and separately tablet sites or desktop sites. They wanted to build it once. It runs everywhere, and we needed to reinvent ourselves and build a new product, which was a responsive website builder that that where you basically build it once and it runs on all devices. So that's an evolution that we did, and really made us, made sure that we would stay relevant. If we would have continued to just, our mobile product was making already millions of dollars, and and my founder and I came to the company and said, we can't bank on this. I know we know it's still growing, but the future is not here. The future is somewhere else. And we needed to kind of reinvent. And it's not just that we reinvented the product. By the time we launched it, we noticed that we were in direct competition with some other, big website builders like, Wix and Squarespace and Weebly and others. And we needed to find ourselves again. And this time it was like deciding what's unique about us, what's our differentiation, what's our reason to exist in this market. And that's when we honed on the web professionals, the web designers, the more advanced type of users. So also that question, the product market fit changes from both sides, both on the product side, both on the market, with a continuous question of who is my customer, right? I think that's probably one of the hardest questions to an entrepreneur is like, who is my customer? Because that question all the time evolves. It never stays the same.
So when did you zero in on the more advanced customer, which is the agencies and the web developers, more sophisticated web developers, which definitely differentiates you from the Shopifys and the Wixes of the world? When did you come to that conclusion and implement that into your execution strategy?
Yeah, that happened in around 2015. So as we were launching our second product, the responsive website builder, we thought we would be the first to market with a fully responsive website builder. It's not that we didn't know that the competition would possibly be there. It took us a lot longer time than we thought to develop it. And by the time we came out to market, Wix and others already and added mobile. They came from the desktop space, so they had mobile. So we at that point we understood, okay, we need to hone down on who our customer is, and we were looking at our user base, and about 50% of them were these small businesses. The other 50% were these web designers, digital agencies, more of advanced users, and that segment was growing faster than small businesses for us. We felt we understood them better. I think we're kind of coming from more of an engineering background. We like to build more sophisticated stuff for a more advanced user. And we just made the decision in 2015 that we are going to become a company for web professionals. From that day on, we didn't spend $1 on acquiring a small business anymore. We said we're only going to be focusing on these web professionals, and that brought a lot of focus and a lot of clarity to the company that helped propel the company forward from 2015 to where it is today. Because from that moment onwards, marketing knew how to, at what level to message. Sales knew who their customer was. R&D knew which features to prioritize. Up until then, we were kind of, we were torn between these two types of users, where small businesses were asking for simplicity, and the advanced users were asking, give us more complex, more flexible features. So it really helped the company to choose kind of a customer type.
And how does the financing strategy overlay on these evolutions? You raised your first angel round on the basis of the AT&T deal and catering to small businesses. AT&T was going to be a channel to cater to small businesses. what were the next financing rounds? And before 2015, before you make this major shift, what were the financing rounds?
Yeah, so we had multiple rounds all along, right? We were already 11 years, and in these 11 years, we had multiple rounds. Initially, we did a seed round and an A round in kind of, I would say, 2010, 2011, 2012, we already did our B round. So by then, we were already getting close to maybe getting just shy of 10 million.
In revenue?
And then 10 million that we take 10 million raised, and revenue probably around revenue was more or less around 6 million. But then we started hitting some of these challenges of moving between products, moving between customer bases, and for about 2 years, between 2014 and 2016, revenue stayed flat. Those were pretty difficult years. We couldn't raise outside investments, so we had the support, and thankfully we had the support of our existing investors, who were great. I think people who were inside the company saw how the new product was starting to gain traction, but it was still very early traction. When you're making kind of already $6 million in a product that you think does not have a future and is starting to decline, and on the other hand, you have a new product that is starting to accelerate, it's kind of, these trade-offs are causing top line to stay flat. But people internally were excited about the new product, and they believed in the new product. And eventually by 2016, our new product was more than 50% of revenue, and kind of we knew that we were out of the woods at that point. And I think in our next round was, if I'm not mistaken, maybe I think our next big round, we still did a couple of inner rounds, but and then we brought in our C round in 2019. But by then by 2000 kind of 17, 18, 19, nobody was kind of thinking about the old mobile product. Everybody had their eyes on kind of the new product.
The agency product.
Yeah, and today like we've sunsetted the older product.
And how long did it take for the revenue to get back to a super growth stage that enabled you to get to a Series C financing?
Yeah, by then we were, way above the numbers that I mentioned earlier. So we were now, business was accelerating. Remember, 2014, 2016, almost no, single-digit growth. Getting out of 2016 into 2017, 18, we were now like, growing 30, 40% year over year. So it's like it was a different ball game. And that enabled us to get the C round, and we just did a D round in 2021. Just like we just announced it in June this year.
Yeah, I saw that. How much was that? That was a large round, right?
Yes, that was 50 million. So far we've raised 100 million in these 11 years.
And in this last 50 million round, did you give liquidity to earlier investors or employees, or is it all growth financing?
The majority of it is growth financing.
Growth financing. Okay. So, and what are the metrics right now? You gave us some metrics, 17,000 agency partners. Any other metrics, revenue numbers, customer, site numbers, whatever you're comfortable with?
Yeah, well, I can share that we have now 1 million sites on the platform.
1 million sites.
And this is 1 million paying published sites.
And are you getting close to an IPO? What is your thinking? It's been a while you've been doing this.
Right. Yeah, we definitely have our eyes set for it. I think it's still a little bit early, so nothing planned for right now, but I think we could be there in probably 2 to 3 years.
Great. And how are we doing on time? I know you have to run. Do you have a few minutes?
Yeah, I can go a few more minutes if you have additional questions.
I have I have one major point that I want to explore before we adjourn.
Yeah.
Repeatability. So there are two things that you've done, which I'm sure have a major impact on your growth rate, which is one, you have been able to repeatably acquire agency customers. Two, you've been able to repeatably acquire large enterprise channel partners. Could you talk a little bit about your, marketing and sales strategy and process that has enabled that repeatability?
Yeah. I think it's two different marketing sales motions on kind of what we call SMA, small medium agency. It's really mostly marketing driven. We do everything from PPC, search, SEO, organic, we bring trials through organic means, PR, and so forth. And we have a very well-defined funnel on our website where these leads come in, sign up for a 14-day free trial, and it's really mostly self-service. They don't need to speak to anyone unless they need technical support or want to talk to a salesperson. That's really the sales motion on that front, and really it's like getting more and more, to accelerate and to grow there. It's just about getting more and more of these agencies.
Digital marketing engine, basically.
Exactly. And it's really to be on top of the metrics and constantly optimize that funnel. From the marketing to the conversion that happens inside the funnel. So this is joint work of two teams in Duda, both the marketing team and what we call product growth team, which kind of works further down in the funnel. And then we have when enterprise is, as I mentioned, is a completely different sales motion. That's where you have to have salespeople, BDRs, salespeople, sales engineers, account managers to be able to acquire enterprise grade companies. So today in Duda we probably have. Sorry.
You're partnering with? Is it mainly the telcos?
Today, our enterprise customers, they fall into three segments. It's hosting companies, YPs, Yellow Pages, or really big agencies, and then SaaS platforms. So any SaaS platform that caters to small businesses that wants to integrate a website builder in order to offer websites to their small business clients, we are a great solution for that. So these are the three types of customer segments we go after in the enterprise space.
And of the 1 million sites that are on the platform, how does that break down into large enterprise channels versus digital agencies?
Yeah, well, we don't share exact numbers, but the majority is through big channels.
Big channels, okay, very good.
Yeah.
Itai, I know you have to run, so I'm going to let you go, and we are following your journey very closely, and I'm thrilled to see that, since 2013 when we spoke, you've gone through iterations, but it all has come out right, and congratulations for that.
Thank you very much, and it's great staying in touch, and looking forward to catching up again in a couple of years and seeing where we are.
Absolutely.
And keep doing the great work of supporting entrepreneurs.
Thank you.
Okay.
Folks,
bye-bye.
I'm going to start you on the entrepreneur pitch session, but I'm going to make a few comments on what you just heard from Itai. This bootstrapping with the paycheck trend is huge right now. I think something like 6.6 million businesses have been registered during the pandemic in America. And from what I'm hearing, a lot of people are doing bootstrapping with a paycheck. So it's something that we are double-clicking down on and making more knowledge and expertise and methodology available to you. We have believed in this all along. So I would say we have been very early adopters of bootstrapping with a paycheck. Generally, incubators and accelerators do not support bootstrapping with a paycheck entrepreneurs. They want you to do it full time. We are a complete exception. 1Mby1M is fully with you. If you decide to do bootstrapping with a paycheck, we have zero problem supporting your work. So pay attention to this methodology, and definitely if you're going down this path, as you can see, Itai has had no difficulty raising $100 million and getting to 1 million sites on this product that he has built. He started building way back when. So yeah, it has taken a bit longer. There's been, some changes, but a lot of those changes that you heard in Itai's journey are market shifts also, right? When you're in the market is a dynamic animal. Things happen. Competition surfaces, new technology comes on. In this case, the smartphone is the genesis of the Duda idea. Without the smartphone, there would be no Duda. So that was the beginning in 2007 when Apple came out with the iPhone. That is the beginning of the smartphone revolution. But then there have been other things that are happening. The Wix movement of do-it-yourself, really easy websites and so forth is one movement. And then there's all kinds of experiences that you can now provide in a mobile setting. And that's another trend. So there's all kinds of market trends that you have to keep in mind. But I just want to underscore one simple point. You have to start somewhere. You can start as a solo entrepreneur. You can start bootstrapping with a paycheck. You can start bootstrapping using services. And eventually, you're going to become, successful at different levels. But you have to start somewhere. And we have tried over the years, over a decade, we have tried to give you mechanisms and methodology with which you can have a successful early journey. You have to survive to succeed. That is the main, takeaway. So learn how to survive in the early phases. Let's look at some entrepreneur pitches. This is a safe working session. You can discuss anything you want. Nobody is trying to embarrass you. Nobody is trying to do Nobody is trying to do a Shark Tank kind of thing where, we have to entertain a bunch of people. No, the purpose of this session is to work together on your venture and find acceleration strategies. If you disagree with me, that's okay too. It's your venture. You take the feedback and figure out how to address the issues, and then we'll take it from there. Dennis from Toronto, you are on first. You are on mute. You need to unmute your line.
Okay, hi there. Thank you very much for having us today. Yeah, it was great listening to this just now. A very inspiring success story from Ida. So appreciate for having this opportunity to present our case. Yeah.
Good.
What we have here is we have the Escrow Protocol, which is a cryptocurrency project. It's a blockchain-based technology that has the function of giving protection to investors. If you want to go to the next slide there, I would like to utilize that. Okay. So the Escrow Protocol, like I said, is a blockchain-based web platform where investors can raise funds for startups with an extended control of their financial contributions, meaning that instead of raising all money in one sum and releasing it to a startup company, our platform allows investors to release that funding based on successful completion of milestones. If you want to go to the next page there, please. Don't mind. Okay, we just completed. Okay, so there's in the crypto space, there's 85. It doesn't matter, but both of them work well. Yeah, right here, if you want introduce our project a little bit more. We started the project about 2 months ago and went live with it. We raised $111,000 in our seed funding round, all for private investors. We hosted the project on a couple of ICO fundraising sites. That was our only exposure. In the crypto space, there is a very high failure rate of new projects. So 85% of ICOs, which stands for initial coin offering, kind of like an IPO in the traditional finance space, typically fail within the first 6 months. And that failure occurs by or because of all funds being typically given to a project in one lump sum upfront payment, which completely limits any further due diligence or motivation for milestone completion. And our system right here is providing a solution for these for these failures, and is able to establish itself as a dominant force in this crypto arena, because the crypto space is a very new industry, as we all know. We are able to provide a platform that is able to demonstrate the benefits of using blockchain technology with a real problem that exists in the crypto space currently, but can also be applied to any traditional fundraising, crowdfunding, or investments in general. You want to go to the next page here, please, Simona? So as I said, our platform allows investors to release the funding to projects in stages and rewards a successful milestone completion. We secure these funds through holding them in a time-honored practice of escrow holding and releasing them in prearranged payouts for specific milestone completions. So a project that is looking for funding can go onto our platform, map out its pitch, development milestones, etc., and obtain funding with the guarantee for the investors that these promises will get honored. Otherwise, there's no further payouts of funding. Next page. Yeah. Through blockchain interface, a Web3 platform, we're able to guarantee transparency and lever the financial security of managing decentralized funds through providing smart contracts that are respected from both sides in the investment process and is able to get governed on multiple levels. So through blockchain technology, we are able to provide this mechanism like it's not been possible before. In addition, while we hold on to these funds and waiting for them to be released on future funding targets, we're allocating them to yield farming protocols, which maximize appreciation of value through interest payments for the investors. So I'll elaborate on a little bit more. Yield farming protocols are in the crypto space liquidity pools that have extremely high interest returns for investors. We're able to move funds in and out of these yield farming protocols at incredible speeds because of blockchain technology. With very low transfer fees and incredible speed, we're able to move money to best performing yield farming protocols and can ensure to investors that their money is optimally used. Traditionally, when a project receives funding, especially in the early stages, right here, yeah, we can ensure through this mechanism that companies have the necessary funding in place for project completion, but we eliminate the risk of a total investment failure. And the risks of funding or releasing 100% of funding to a startup is that there's no accountability for the funded project to further deliver on promises that were made to raise funds. And obviously, there's 100% risk of loss should the project fail and you have distributed your funding. And the investment capital is not really being used while it is held in escrow and has no value appreciation. Next slide there too. So our solutions to this is utilizing the power of blockchain and the new internet to offer a platform where startups and investors can easily map out and agree on these predetermined funding conditions with realistic performance targets. So as I said earlier, the project, and we're trying to make this whole thing, as Itai said through his platform, to be how would I say, a mainstream accepted interface, a user experience that is accessible for people, whether they are retail investors or angel investors, capital ventures, investors of all classes can really participate in this. And we're able to give startup projects the ability to map out their ideas and promises in an easy way and formulate those promises into a smart contract. So the opportunities here are, yeah.
Dennis, so I think we understand what you're trying to do. Let's talk about validation. What have you done what's happening right now? Is there a marketplace already out there? Do you have investors? Do you have startups raising money from your marketplace?
So the platform itself is non-existent. The platform, that's what we raised our $111,000 for, is sufficient funding to produce and deliver the product. What we have right now is the, you want to go back? Yep. So even want to go back to the original slides. So we have raised the funding to be able to deliver the product. But since this is such a new era that we're in right now, the key is getting it out on a global scale and facilitate a mass integration as soon as possible. You know, all
You
of
don't
these
need to do that. Nothing goes out on a global scale at the beginning. You need to find investors who are willing to operate in this mode, because there is a tremendous negative bias against investors on behalf of entrepreneurs. There's a tremendous negative bias against investors who want to drip invest. This is what we call, I've been through this, many times. If you're a good entrepreneur and you have options, if an investor comes and tells you that I'm going to drip invest in your company as you clear milestones, as an entrepreneur, I would say, keep your money. I don't want to work with you. That's the psychology of the entrepreneurs. Now, of course, not all entrepreneurs have the choice. There's the high-end entrepreneurs who have lots of choices, and then there are lots of entrepreneurs who don't have as many choices, who are still trying to raise money, who will be more tolerant of this kind of, if they can access financing, they will be more tolerant. So your positioning is for that class of entrepreneurs who have fewer choices. So it could be geographically they're more removed from the hubs. It could be angel groups who operate in those geographies and want to work in that mode. You need to find sweet spots of investors and entrepreneurs who are willing to operate in this mode. So my suggestion to you would be to find angel groups in kind of less of entrepreneurship hub places who are willing to work in this mode, and there is a critical mass of entrepreneurs who also want in this mode, and start validating, get the platform built and validating. But I think you need to talk to people also before you build this platform. That in our validation methodology, we try to talk to the customers. In this case, it's a two-sided marketplace, so you have to talk to both sides of the marketplace to get buy-in that they are willing to invest in this mode. That's the piece that I think, yeah, go ahead.
I agree with you. I agree with you 100%. But I think we have gotten validation here through the very fact that the crypto market itself has such a huge failure rate. So anybody that has invested in these ICOs, and if you go back a couple slides to where it says the first market, crypto market with 85%, that means in the 85% failures, which raised $17 billion in the crypto space, 85% of those people are disappointed. 85% of people raising or investing $17 billion have gotten no return on their investment. So anybody who has been in the crypto space for the past years has experienced failure, and including myself, which was the reason we came up with this project, investing into companies that raised millions and millions of dollars, but did nothing for that money. After that money was released to them,
I'm not pushing back on any of that. I'm not pushing back on your assumptions. I'm just giving you the lay of the land of what happens in high-end entrepreneurship. High-end entrepreneurs are not going to tolerate this kind of drip feeding investment. But there is a category of entrepreneurs and there is a category of investors who probably would. You need to speak to them and get their buy-in so that the product that you're building has takers to begin with. Conceptually, you're fine. But concepts to business is a journey, and that's the journey you need to start taking. And you're not going to launch on a global scale. I think what you need is both investors and entrepreneurs that are willing to do business together in this mode. And you need to find who they are. You need to figure out what is the positioning, where are they hanging out, how do you acquire these people, both sides of this marketplace, and get something started. Get this set of transactions in this two-sided marketplace started.
Right. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, for sure. We, I agree with you. So
We can
we
talk
need to.
more in a bit, but I have three other people who are going to pitch. So hold on, Dennis. We'll come back to you. Let's go to Ketan now. Ketan, are you on the line? Could you unmute, please?
Yeah, hi, Shamana.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So here we are talking about something which is dear to everyone. That is chocolates. We're going to talk about, and we're a brand called Procoa, a startup company. We've been working on this project for around 2.5 years on the formulation of uh, coming up with a probiotic chocolate or a probiotic uh, category in a cocoa-based product, specifically.
Okay.
So for the last 6 months, we have been operational in the business and we have been selling our products. So just to brief, few of the FAQs, what probiotics are and what do they do. So probiotics are basically good bacteria, which are required in our body to fight the bad bacteria. And how do we get them? So we get them in the natural forms of food like, curd or something on those lines, but what should be the intake, how much curd gives our probiotics. So what should be our intake of probiotics in our daily consumptions? So the consumption should be somewhere, between 1 billion to 10 billion. So are we getting that, kind of a probiotic? So basically the probiotics are available in two forms or in two categories. One through pharmaceutical category, either in the supplement form or the powder form. In case if you are looking for a very high concentration like 5 billion or 10 billion, or for example in the commercial category, which is the food and beverages, we get these products in the form of say Yakult or kombucha drinks, which are more of functional food category. But there's those also are limited in terms of the category wise products. If you go to my next slide, uh, the industry is already very big at the moment. Shramana, the next slide. No, the earlier one. Yeah. So the industry is already very big. People are aware that why do they need to take the probiotics? Already the growth has been driven by the food and beverages segment. The current industry stand at somewhere $48 billion, and the expected industry is going to go to somewhere $95 billion, by the industry estimates by 2027. So in this food and beverage category also, the probiotic category is very limited in the form of, as I said, kombucha drinks or Yakult. So what we thought of, how can we put a probiotic into the mass category where people can, consume it in a very well, where we can break the age barrier basically. So chocolate was one of the ideas where we thought of, which can break the age barrier. Maybe, kids can have it, youth, teen, or, adults, older people. So it goes to a very mass category basically. So on the commercial front, we thought of producing probiotic forms in a highly, portfolio of cocoa-based products. Could be probiotic chocolates, probiotic spread, chocolate spread, probiotic chocolate biscuits, in that particular form. And on the other side, when you see here, 18% growth is driven by the pharmaceutical category. So in the pharmaceutical category, you are supposed to have probiotics either in the form of supplements or powder form, but there is no interesting, way to have those probiotics. And what problem here we are solving is providing probiotic in a very pharmacological solution in a cocoa based products, and also on the commercial segment in the chocolate based products. So currently we have probiotic chocolates. These are the products what we are selling in the market for the last 6 months. We have come up with the chocolate and the spread, and on the other side we are coming up with a sugar free chocolate in the probiotic form. Also we are coming up with the sugar free biscuits in the probiotic form. And if you go to the next slide, Shamana, this is what I was talking more on the interesting front. So we are not only targeting the commercial front category, we are also targeting the pharma category. where the probiotics are given on a application based. For example, if a kid is having a problem with diarrhea or something on that note, he's supposed to take either in a supplement form or the powder form. So there is no other way where the kids can be given in a very unique form, where the chocolates can be a part of it and can be given. So this is one of the competition. Enterogermina is a medicine which is given if a kid is suffering from a diarrhea, which gives around 2 billion of the count of probiotics. So what we have come up with is the high concentration of probiotic from 5 billion to 10 billion in the pharmacological solution, but in the form of cocoa scoop, like a chocolate spread, where a kid can have and get 5 billion to 10 billion probiotics and can still be applied for either he's facing diarrhea or something. So we've done some medical projects with pediatrics in in Pune and in some B towns where we have met doctors and we have given our product and of 5 billion and 10 billion dosages. And so far, we have covered 9 pediatrics, and in B town we have covered 11 pediatrics, where our product is, getting experimented and been tried on the, kids. If you go to the next slide. So on the commercial front, basically we are eyeing the export market on a heavy note. So we are starting with the next slide, if you can go. We are starting with, we participated in the Gulf Food last year in 2021, and we had presented our product there. So we've already got the orders from Dubai, Abu Dhabi, and especially Middle East countries. So we've got one partner there who is ready to, support us in finding the dealerships, in finding the networking for the product. And We've already got the invitation for the next exhibition, which is Yamex, which is basically happening for only confectionaries, where we can find out more investors, we can find out more distributors over there. So basically, the export channel is what we are trying to eye on by creating a bigger roadmap. So we're trying to see that how we can build a sugar-free probiotic chocolates or vegan probiotic chocolates to acquire a larger base audiences. That's our team. So we, like myself and Mr. Vardhaman, who is basically into he's heading a department called Calidus Research Laboratories, who is the backbone of the idea which we have generated.
So what are your questions? What brings you here, Ketan?
Basically, we're looking for funding, to get growing along, because we are into an FMCG brand, and marketing is one of the key solutions what we thought of, and which requires a heavy funding. So we're already having our products getting through networks in our cities. So we're trying to also tap export markets, starting with Middle East. So what we require specifically is funding.
1 million by 1 million works only on IT and IT-enabled services products. If e-commerce is an IT-enabled service, so if your main go-to-market strategy were e-commerce, then we could look into this, but it doesn't sound like that's what you're doing. You're not doing an e-commerce product. You are talking about distributors in the Middle East, export market, you're talking about pediatrics, you're not digital. I didn't see a single digital marketing strategy in your whole presentation. So this is not in our sweet spot. If you decide that you want to position this as a digital product, digitally marketed product, then we could work with you and then we could help you. But as it stands, this is not in our sweet spot.
Yeah, Shraman, actually FMCG or these kind of products are basically works in both the channels, So FMCG is also having a dealer network channel, and e-commerce is one of the biggest channel at the moment, like Amazon or Flipkart in India, or any other sites of those sites.
What is your performance there? Are you selling on Amazon or Flipkart?
Yeah, we are selling on Amazon. Yes, we are selling on Amazon. We are selling on Flipkart. So we've been operational for last 6 months, and we've got listed in Amazon from last 2 months. So we're doing good numbers over there. But there also, in e-commerce, we will require heavy funding for advertising, for digital placements. Because in Dubai, specifically in Middle East countries, Amazon works very well, or these e-commerce sites works very well, where people are more inclined towards buying through digital mode rather than going and something products like probiotics or something of those sorts. E-commerce is one of the best platform where we could sell better.
All right.
Or we could explain ourselves better.
I will explain how we help with raising money in a little bit. Let me listen to the other two pitches, and then I will take you through how to use 1 million by 1 million for fundraising, and then we can talk more in the Q&A. Okay?
Yep.
Reena, you are next.
Thank you. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to come here and talk to you. I'll tell you one quick story about me. I started my journey 30 years ago. I have got experience of 30 years in the textile industry. I did my designing in Sophia's Bombay, and from there I started working on designing fibers of yarns. And I went deep into the product, like starting from fibers to fabric. Then I worked with Raymond's. And I've been a very successful consultant all these years, doing helping other people make money. I became an expert in doing fast fashion and controlling costs, maintaining the aesthetics. I would do work with the consumptions and do a whole lot of things which made me very which made me very sought after for Myntra and Amazon. I still have products where I've consulted for other companies and they're selling. And during the lockdown, what happened is Amazon had ordered some garments, and sudden lockdown happened, and I had a lot of stock of cotton fabrics with me. And being a designer, I got into the COVID task force, and I was seeing how things were happening with the masks and all those stories. Just to make it short, I figured that the people, the medical fraternity, were not getting all what they required, like surgical masks, etc. And the normal janta was wearing all the disposable masks and littering. So that was bothering me quite a bit. And way in the beginning, I came up with a 3-layer cloth mask. And it was reusable, and we read out everywhere in WHO, etc., about the flame test, and we made a very good product called Mask On. And it sold very well. And in the process, through the pain, I could give jobs to 60 people. I gave livelihood to 60 people by controlling them through videos and things. And my company and my buying house became an MSME. So, to my surprise, in June, I got selected by Sheet Trades to attend the expo in Dubai. And they have been training us about, talking to us about sustainability. And just when I had started my career, just due to interest, I had seen all these old Indian paintings in Calico Museum, Ahmedabad, which had beautiful colors. So I had learned the art of vegetable dyeing, but I did not use it here. So I just brought all that knowledge, and I have decided that, I have done enough damage with the chemical dyes and chemical work. And Shramona, you can hear me?
I can hear you. My WebEx has just kind of gone off. So you can keep talking. I'm still on the phone.
I'll continue.
But my
all right.
I'm going to have to log back into WebEx. So keep going. I'm listening to you. Just go ahead.
All right. So while this was happening and we were making masks, selling masks, our billing was increasing, I realized how many people were in need. I saw the bad side of the women workers at the, tailor level, how much they suffered, and during lockdown, how they were battered at home. And I used to bring them to office, teach them all social distancing, everything, and say, okay, you work. And I felt that, we could do a lot with sustainability and training people. Then what happened is somebody from Delhi approached me, which is with a company called Etpar and Needar. What they do there is they make entrepreneurs out of disabled people. So because I've been in this line and I've hardcore production because I do buying for other companies, I make the first piece and the first pattern here, and then I give jobs to all these people. And this lady is sitting on a wheelchair and doing my production. She teaching them to be entrepreneurs, teaching them how they can do well. So in my own little way, supported by my buying house, I started Reepeat, and I am really running fast because by the time Dubai Expo happens, I should have a complete thought process in place. So two things were bothering me. One is here I'm trying to be natural and thing, but this whole thing is being supported by fast fashion, which I thought was not right. And so I wanted to be independent quickly. Then I looked at my collection because I've been doing e-commerce and value for money, etc. My clothes look good, fit good, but they look very ordinary. So that's when I thought, I'm doing workwear. I decided to do workwear for women because they are the ones who read about all these environment and the depletion that is happening. So it would be easier to convince them to buy these products, which are a little more expensive than the fast fashion products. So I thought I'll cater to them. But once my collection was ready, I thought I should get an Italian designer. I love to travel and I love everything Italian, especially their shirts, the formal shirts that they design. They're beautiful. So that is when I wanted to either buy from some designer, and I approached a friend in US and requested her, can you connect me to someone from whom I can buy a few designs and I can make bulk here. So that is when she said that Shramana can help you. But after coming here, I'm getting ideas, a lot of ideas, like sitting through whatever I've heard. I think I can really think big now. Right now, I'm using my own funds, and that is why I'm finding it very difficult because I'm starting small. And I was hoping that at Street Trades, when I go, I should create an impact and get more funding from there. But more than that, I want to take a fabulous collection and convince people that we are capable of doing a good job. And also training clusters of women to do designing. So that is why my designs look very simple, but the finish, and I'm training a whole lot of people by giving them livelihood. So this happened because of the masks which I was making.
Let me understand. Your key question is how to find Italian designers. Is that what brought you here?
From whom I can buy. I can show them my fabric. They can feel and come out with something original. And I believe they come out with really classy finish and that little touch, which in India,
so that's not very difficult.
course,
there are schools, design schools in Italy. So look up on the internet the design schools in Italy. They're very famous. There's a very, very famous design school in Florence. There's that many of the designers hire from. There's Bocconi, which is the kind of key fashion business school of Italy. That's not necessarily where all the designers are.
Bocconi or Bocconi?
Bocconi. B-O-C-O-N-I or B-O-C-C-O-N-I. Very, very famous.
Okay.
But that's not where the designers are. The designers are more in the specific Italian design schools. Do a web search on Italian design schools. You'll find them and then contact them and figure out work for the design schools. They have career development offices, alumni associations. So just network with that community. It's not difficult to find Italian designers and look at their portfolios.
Okay. And because I'm starting with only what I have, my quantities of the garments are very less. Like in each design, I'm just making 25 pieces because I'm just beginning. But in the process, what happens is if you're making 100 or 200, your rates would be much more sharper. But because I'm doing small quantities,
not for design. Design has nothing to do with volume.
No, I'm talking about the quantity.
Manufacturing
I'm doing the entire repeat. Manufacturing. I'm doing e-commerce through my own website. There is a WordPress company which we have tied up with, some Invalsco, who said who would do it for us, all the hosting and things. I would just monitor the design of it, and I'm planning to sell through online. So that is where this website was made. So all this started with this Street Trades thing. So as and when they asked us to present, I have been working. But I chose workwear because I had made a very successful brand called Ombre Lane. I was a designer with them. I did all their production and I was the buying house for them. So I have my experience with workwear and I know that very few people in India tread with it. Very few. You can find in chemical dyes, but in natural fabrics, you don't see proper workwear. So that is why I've chosen shirts and what a working woman would want at different times. So I'm hoping to do well. Let's see. But all those fine-tuning is required, and I hope to come back to you to ask for more.
I think you should
If you
learn how
can
to build
guide.
a business. You have worked as a consultant on specific small problems in other people's businesses. You need to learn how to build a business from scratch.
Yes, yes. My buying house I've been doing on my own, but yeah, I've been doing various products. I'm exporting to US also. So it's just that building a product and marketing, yes, I have to learn now.
Yeah. Okay. I will talk about all that of how to, each of you have come with a specific agenda. I will address how to use 1 million by 1 million to address those agendas, whether it's fundraising or learning how to build a business. I will address all that. So hang on. Let me listen to Sooraj next. Sooraj, could you please unmute your line?
Hi, Smarana.
Hello.
Yeah.
Go
So
ahead.
yeah. Thank you. Like for the first time, I'm either pitching or just explaining what we do and what we are trying to do with the fundraisings and all. Right. So my questions would be very basic or very generic. I don't know, but just bear with me for the presentation. Yeah.
No problem.
Yeah. So we'll just quickly take you to the it's a CRM for the travel companies, right? So it's a specifically designed CRM where the travel companies work into the day-to-day operations. So
No,
if
just a second. Suraj, what do you mean
yeah,
by travel companies? Travel agencies, online travel agencies, tour operators? What travel companies?
yeah, so travel companies are who work on the offline sectors generally. So like the travel agents, tour operators, if you know, destination management companies, who are mostly into the holiday packages, for the three any of the trek adventures, or they do any of the activity stuff. Those people.
Okay.
Yeah. So basically where they doesn't book anything online as such, so people call them up and they do the bookings with them. So generally these are the offline bookings which we
Okay.
yeah. So what we found out was there's a huge gap for the CRM into the travel technology or the travel industry. So of course there are plenty of generic CRMs across the market to use it, but travel there has to be a quotations into the day 1, day 2, day 3 itineraries, or there has to be a vouchers for the hotels or flights or anything, maybe the transport, and there's a visa requirements and few more stuff related with the specific with the lead management. So we have found this gap, and 3 4 days with my few of the colleagues, and we found the entire around 190 countries to find out those kind of CRMs, and we couldn't find like more than 3 4 specifically designed for the this kind of industry, right?
Okay.
And so it's a working product. Like we are into the market since 3 4 years. We have got around
Okay.
300 companies who are using this CRM, mostly Indian
Okay.
companies, but few of them are from the US, UK, Israel, and then Australia. These of the countries, very few, but there are the numbers, and it's
Okay.
a subscription-based model with per user pricing and very affordable. And there's a try before buy model, so it works very
Yeah.
well right now for us, right? And
Okay.
then if yeah, so see, these are the audience, like the travel agents, tour operators, destination management companies, activity operators, or those offer the tourism services, right? So we have been into the online and offline targeting for the clients. So there are few trade fairs happens in India which we do participate. There are the B2B referrals. We contact the associations and we give the webinars into those associations. Either it's a live webinar or online webinar, and of course we do it like paid ads with the Google and Facebook and all those stuff, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so target market is very well defined and it works for us. We have tried this in few other countries, and there's a very good response from our side. Yeah.
Okay.
If you go to the next slide, so like indirect competitors can be the Zoho, Zendex, or these kind of generic CRMs, And the direct competitors are very few, which I've said, that Trip Creator, Travify, or Hello GTX, like that. And so the direct competitors have acquired till now around 700 of clients across the globe. And but they haven't acquired the huge numbers as well. And so the competitor strategy which we are using it, the CRM is built with very specific needs, which daily these travel agents gives us the feedback and we incorporate. So it's now like, and if anyone inquires that, okay, this feature is present in the CRM, and we say yes, it's there. So it's kind of, we have covered most of the features which required for the travel industry. And if you go to the next slide, so this is what I have personally sat down and found it out. So there are 3 million travel agents across LinkedIn and Facebook, across around 40 countries. And if we still target it out 1 million travel companies, we can get 100K users. So any company has around 3 to 4 employees if we take it. So we are talking about the users, 100K as such. And the price point we try to
Sorry,
keep.
the numbers don't make sense to me. How does 3 million drop down to, if there are 3-4 employees per company, we're talking
Yeah, so I will
12 million. How does it drop down to 100K?
So what I try to figure out is like, if we target, if we try to acquire 2% of the, or 5% of the market which is present over there. So I try to talk about the market share.
Market size is not market share. Market size is market size. Market share is a different phenomenon.
So if I talk in my terms, like what I have pursued, this thing is 3 million would be the market size, and 100K would be the market share which we are trying to, that's the goal, to acquire it out.
And what is 50 million here?
Yeah, so if there's 100K people are using it, and if we take it like around $600 dollars per year revenue with them, so if you multiply it out, so there's a 50 million revenue we can get through it.
So this is a very poor presentation of what you're trying to say.
Okay. Yeah.
We need to fix that. But I understand what you're trying to do, but you need to present it better. But keep going.
Yeah. And so let's say if it's if we talk it about, so like all I tried to run few campaigns, paid campaigns into these US, UK, or Australia, or Middle East countries, and we got kind of good response. But COVID has plus minus lockdowns in every country, so that's what we are not able to focus it well in any of the countries. And we are lacking the funds from our side, because we are trying to sustain from like around a year or so.
What is your revenue from the 300 customers that you have right now? What is your revenue?
Yeah, so the revenue is for the Indian. Most of the people are from the India. So roughly, it would, I would say, it's INR rupees 10 lakh rupees would be the revenue.
10 lakhs per year?
Yeah, 10 lakh per year, because the market size for the per ticket would be 6,000 or 8,000 per per company they pay in India. So it's very less, and due to the COVID, few people aren't renewing it, or they are asking for a very cheaper price. That's the reason.
Yeah, it's not going to be easy to raise money for right now, given what you are showing here. First and foremost, fix this slide.
Yeah.
If there are 3 million total travel agencies around the world, and you're selling a product that is a $600 per year subscription, your total available market is 3 million times $600 per year.
Okay.
Which is a sizable market size. Whether 3 million is the right number, and whether you can defend the 3 million number, I don't know. Actually, if it's a per user, and if there are multiple users per company, then we're talking probably 3 million times 3, or 3 million times 4 times 600, right? 600 is the per user per year subscription. So that's the real market size. And to raise money, you need to have a large market size. So that's good. The problem is that it seems like the market is moving slowly. Investors do not like slow-moving markets. And travel is a battered sector at the moment. Because of COVID, travel is a battered sector, and travel is going to continue to be a somewhat battered sector for a while still. Probably in 2022, 2023, the market comes back. So you have to sustain yourself in this period and start to show high velocity growth and a customer acquisition strategy that works before you can actually raise money. That's my assessment of what you said. I don't see any problem with your thesis. Okay, vertical CRM is a category. We've seen lots of different vertical CRM companies. Veeva is a wonderful vertical CRM company for the pharmaceutical industry that has done tremendously well. So vertical CRM is an understood business model. The question is, can you build a high velocity company targeting this sector, which is unclear, and you're saying that it's not working, it's not a high velocity, which is understandable. I mean, this COVID has been the worst for the travel and hospitality sector. So there's no question that this is a horrible time for this sector. So that's, so the question is, how do you move the needle on velocity? That's the question that you need to answer before anybody is going to touch this as an investor. Something that's going to have to work on. If you were to work with 1Mby1M, that's what I would work with you on.
Okay.
So let me explain to you how to use 1Mby1M to all of you who are looking for support on different aspects of your businesses. Before we do that, as you can see, we have very serious strategy conversations here. We identify where the strategic gaps are and then figure out how to plug those gaps. So if you like that approach, this is not entertainment. This is not a place where you come to get a pat on your back. This is a place where you come for serious growth, serious development of your strategy, of your progress. So everything is at 1Mby1M.com. Go look at the website. It's very rich, very well explained what we offer. The blog is completely free and it's very rich. You'll learn a lot from just studying the blog. A lot of people from many, many years have studied this blog. The Entrepreneur Journeys book series is available on Amazon. It's all based on case studies and specifically talking about different topics. Bootstrapping with a paycheck is something we spent a lot of time earlier today. So for example, Reena, I would suggest do not quit your consulting work because you still need to bring in the paycheck with which you sustain your family and your obligations. Whatever you do, do it on the side, and especially when you're in a stage where you're trying to figure things out, having a paycheck coming in is a good, helpful, way to keep going. These roundtables happen every week. You're very welcome to come as many times as you want to. You can pitch in the free roundtables only once. After that, if you want to discuss things with me, you'll have to join the premium program. The premium program is our full acceleration program. We offer you extensive methodology guidance. We have a comprehensive digital curriculum. We help you with business development. We help you with strategy consulting. So where you are facing strategy issues, this is where we have private versions of these roundtables where you can come and discuss every week as needed on an as needed basis. The curriculum is what, Reena, you need is to learn, it's just almost like a mini MBA specifically focused on technology entrepreneurship. So you have a lot of methodology that you need to learn. So I almost think that the best bang for the buck you would get is just studying the curriculum. We offer the curriculum only for $99 a month, so it's very inexpensive. You can access that. The ones who are looking for financing, you're going to need to be in the premium program, but there's a whole section describing our policy and methodology of how we deal with financing. So please study that before joining the program looking for financing. The self-assessment on the website is the due diligence questions that investors would ask you. Take a look at that. You need to be able to answer these questions. There is a free bootstrapping course on the website that's about just under an hour. I suggest you take a look at that before you do anything. It's a very good kind of introduction to the 1 million by 1 million philosophy. 1M Basic is our curriculum only option, just $99 a month. You're very welcome to use that. So go to the website, go look at what to expect from premium, what to expect from basic, video messages, FAQs, description of the curriculum. We are a case study based program. As you saw, we introduced you to Duda and Itai today. It's a case study. It's a very interesting case study. We have that on the blog as well, an earlier conversation. We do this all the time. We try to introduce you to people and what journeys they have followed, what they have learned on a putting one foot before the other basis. There's thousands of case studies in the blog, in the curriculum that you can learn from. The investor introduction section, as I said, please study that before you join the program looking for money. There are, specifics that you need to learn. Our methodology is lean, capital efficient, bootstrap startups. Bootstrap first, raise money later is the philosophy. That's pretty much it. We have free roundtables coming up, 3 more in August, and then we're going to go into the fall when we have almost every week free roundtables. Yes, so that's it, and you can call in now. I'm happy to take questions. We don't have a lot of time. We had a full program today, but we will take questions. If you have questions, feel free to dial in, and those who are already on the call, you can ask more questions. You can unmute your computer audio. You can also dial in through the computer audio. I saw a question. Let me see here. I think it's from Dennis. I'm interested in joining a premium program. Could we spend a few minutes in a private conversation after this call, please? I feel like the conversation was cut very abruptly and we didn't get much of a conversation started. We do not have any pre-joining conversation with me. This is all you get. In the free roundtable, you get to present what you do and you have a conversation here. If you want to know more about the program, Reena Patterson is a person you can have a conversation with. She will be happy to answer your questions about the program. Her email is irina@1mby1m.com. I don't do any pre-joining this program conversations. So that's it. Now you can ask me more questions if you want. I would be happy to answer more questions now before we adjourn this session.
Sister Mona,
Yeah.
I wanted to know if I join the curriculum, would they discuss my business personally and guide me through it?
No, that's just a digital curriculum that you study at your own time. To get discussions with me, you have to be in the premium program. That is a $1,000 annual membership fee.
Okay. So I can do that even after I finish E-Trades, right?
Yeah, you can.
Because there is a curriculum going on with them right now. So I'll finish that and then I will touch. Of course, I'll go through the videos whenever I get time. But the joining of the curriculum, yes.
Whatever works for you, whatever schedule works for you, we're completely flexible. There's no, we are probably the only accelerator that doesn't work in cohorts. You can join at your own convenience. There's no deadline. There's no timeline. You start when you want.
That's
Shramana?
Yes.
Yeah, I just wanted to take it forward from where we left. You said that we have to be a pure e-commerce company because which I wanted to know more about that. So where we are right now and how
pure e-commerce company, you can do various modes of customer acquisition, but technology needs to be a major piece of your business strategy for us to be involved.
So I mean, the way we are
multi-channel retail is fine. What you're doing in, seeking distributors and all of that is fine. But in all of that, technology needs to be a significant enabling phenomenon for us to be able to add value because we are a IT and IT-enabled services accelerator.
Okay, so I mean, the way we are going to work with, say, Amazon or, these e-commerce giants, so how that can be, help from you in that side?
Yeah, those are all strategies of how to build, an e-commerce company. Absolutely, there are various marketplaces that you can go into. The problem you have with a new product that nobody knows about is you will need to introduce the world to this product. So there are ways of doing that. You could advertise within Amazon, for instance. You could advertise within those marketplaces. Or you can advertise on social media, digital advertising on social media to introduce the world to those projects. But that's all expensive, very expensive. So,
Yeah.
the other thing is PR. You can get PR around your product and introduce the market to it. Of course, the other way to do it is get retail shelf exposure. So if you can find a retailer that's willing to distribute your product, that's the other way you can take a CPG product to market. Those are the tried and true mechanics in which you introduce a new product, new CPG product to market, any product, a new CPG product to show up.
I mean, we know that route, but the only problem here, we were lacking the funds too, because as you said, it's very expensive. So we just wanted to know, like, how 1M can, help us in funding.
You are not ready for funding. I'm sorry, but I mean, at the moment, this is why I want you to go study the investor introduction section of our website. We do not introduce by joining the program. Just by joining the program, you will not get introductions to investors. You have to be ready to be introduced to investors. We work with hundreds of investors. We have over 500 investors that we work with. But before I send you to any investor in our network, you're going to have to be quote unquote fundable. And that's something that I have to work with you on to get you to a point where you can be introduced to investors, and you're not at that point yet.
Okay, so for that, I think we need to join that membership and get trained, or?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
Is that one lump sum, the $1,000?
We have two very simple ways of working. We either work with you in the premium program, or you can train yourself in the basic, but the basic is just curriculum. It doesn't have any consulting, it doesn't have any introductions, it doesn't have PR, nothing. So all of that is in the premium program. It's a very, very simple choice. You either join the premium program or you join the basic program, and that's all we have to offer here.
How much personal time will come? Let's say we send $1,000 today. How much personal time are we able to receive with you to get this structured?
You can come to the roundtable as often as you want. The roundtables happen every week.
So the conversation, once you join the premium program,
One second. Somebody is echoing. Somebody is streaming echo into the call. Can you fix this, Maureen? Try again. Okay, the echo is gone. Somebody was asking a question also.
Yeah, my question was, so we said we spent the $1,000, which is amazing value. How the only personal time with you is through the roundtables, or is there direct conversations we can have one-on-one?
You cannot. Direct conversations cost $1,000 an hour.
Yeah, but I'm sure in that hour we'll get a lot of advice, so that's all right. Okay. Just out of, I didn't get much chance to really present, the full scope of our project. That's fine. I learned, where it went wrong. My question is, how far away do you think we are to achieving fundability with what we have right now?
You're going to need to get validation from both sides of your marketplace. In any two-sided marketplace, you've already got angel financing, so you've got some amount of money in the pool. But before that money runs out, you're going to need to get both sides of the marketplace on your platform. So it doesn't have to be huge numbers, but you have to have both sides of the marketplace starting to come together and validating your content.
Okay, like we have gotten.
This is what I would do. I would go find some angel groups who want to use your platform and who are interested in releasing money in this drip mode. And I would go to not to the mainstream markets. I wouldn't go to Silicon Valley, for example, because this mode of financing is looked down upon in Silicon Valley. You should go to markets where there's an underserved community but there is an angel group, and there is, entrepreneurship happening, local entrepreneurship happening, so that the angel groups can potentially work with you and bring the entrepreneurs that they want to fund in this mode onto your platform. That's how I would start validating this. And if you can get, 5, 10 angel groups starting to transact on your platform, that would be a good beginning.
Okay, that's very possible. Okay.
You are mute, I think. Here we go. Go ahead. I can hear you now.
Okay, yeah, I was saying, okay, that's good advice. Thank you for explaining it like that. I believe that's 100% achievable. So I guess once we get a little bit of validation from some of these entities, which we already have, I'm going to get it in writing now. I guess we can take the next step forward.
All right, very good. Good luck. Good luck, everybody. We are actually 8 minutes over time right now. As I said at the beginning, we have a packed session today, and I have to jump on another call in 20 minutes, and I have to do something before that. So I'm going to adjourn for today. Please come back as often as you like to. As you can see, we have real discussions about real strategy here. That's what we have done since 2008 and across 540 roundtables. So it's a massive amount of experience that we've gathered in doing this in a very efficient way. So good luck, be well, be safe. I'll see you soon.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.